New York, big city of dreams.
I'm coming straight out.
New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.
What's going on? This is Jailers from Nick of Time Show here, give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And the whole band is back together once again. All four members here to give you that Knicks talk. Not a lot of topics today. We're going to keep it super light, but we're going to get into it. Now that I've gotten the intros down pat, there's not going to be any confusion. To my direct left, you're right, audience, is Mr. Blue Check coming. Edson Sean, a.k.a. Kunta Kente, cloth.
I want my Knicks pattern dashiki.
Yes, dashiki out. I am.
We know the vibes.
Yes, we know the vibes. You definitely know the vibes.
Exactly.
All right. Now, left corner of the screen is Miss Black Girl Magic herself.
Hey, still.
Are we clapping today, Miss Black Girl Magic?
Yeah.
Hand motions?
Yeah. No, it's a recovery day.
Recovery day? You was watching the sound class, you're beanie in them, and now you have no energy. I got it. Okay.
I had no energy.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. No, we'll talk about the ball a little bit too, just to get your energy up. We'll do that too.
Right. I need a warm up.
Need a warm up. Okay. Yeah. And right corner of the screen is the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the stats and the facts.
Ryan G in the building.
Damn
and,
right.
FYI, my energy is still up, even though I watched the class last night, so I'm good right now. I'm
taking shots, Ryan, because that's gonna get me back. I'm back now. Since you taking shots, because I felt some shade and I felt some shots. Ryan, is you taking shots? Because just let me know what time we on today.
Listen,
let me know what time we on today. How we giving it up? This is how we giving it up.
Listen, Ryan. When you address K-Steel, you have the gunshots. You have to use your hands when you're talking to K-Steel.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's the only way you know your point's getting across.
Nah, that's her thing. My thing is different. That's her thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say no more, King. I got you.
All right.
Say no more.
I'm taking it. Whatever.
Say less. Say less, Ryan. Say less.
See that? Now you woke her up for real.
All right.
I'm here. Let's pod. We podding.
We podding. All right. So now, latest news in Knicks land is new hires all across the board.
Yes.
Leon Rose I've been concerned about Leon Rose because he hasn't had the experience of running a Knicks team, but he's been around. He has a lot of connections with the CAA. And you know what? The last moves he's made in that front office has kind of changed my mind about Leon Rose a little bit, or at least it's starting to make me think a little bit differently. There were some hires that happened with the Knicks like a month ago, so that we never really talked about. But the biggest hire so far has been Walt Perrin. A guy who's been with the Jazz for 17 years, a vice player of player personnel, oversaw the draft for the Utah Jazz. And if you've been following the Utah Jazz for the last few years, they've been kind of hitting on the draft.
No, definitely.
So any thoughts on this new hire in Walt Perrin and what you think it will mean for the Knicks?
Well, I have some thoughts. So, I was just looking up, stats right quick, just to look at the Utah Jazz's record within the last, I know he's been there the last 17 seasons, but I did the last 19 seasons. So you can maybe omit 2 of those seasons in the overall record. Mm-hmm. But in the last 19 seasons, the Jazz had a record of 870 and 736.
Okay.
870 wins, 736 losses. And within that time span, the Jazz only had 5 losing seasons. So the fact that the Knicks got a guy from an organization who's used to winning, the Jazz haven't won a championship within that time span, but the Jazz has been a competitive team. And what is the one thing that the Knicks lack right now? Competitiveness.
Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, and even in that time, too, he's made some really good picks. Paul Millsap, Gordon Hayward, Donovan Mitchell. I mean, it just shows that he has a good eye for picking talent and building a team. So I'm excited that he's on board.
Yeah, and what I'm excited about too is where those picks land when he picked them, because the Paul Millsap pick was like a 47 pick. That wasn't that wasn't a guy who was in the top 10. Paul Millsap ends up being an all-star. Same can be said for Mo Williams, is also a 47 pick.
Exactly.
Same can be said for Gordon Hayward. And then and when it comes to a team like the Knicks, who's only had one all-star in the last 15 years, and you compare it to Utah, who's had 6 in the last
right.
It makes you think, like, man, what are we missing, like, that can help this rebuild? And drafting is a huge part of that, for sure.
Absolutely.
I like that he trusts the players that he's drafting, though. Like,
he definitely goes to bat for him.
Yeah, there's something about having like a gut feeling about a player and sticking through and seeing that player actually develop into who you think they are, so they actually work out to be like a good draft pick. So
I agree. And the most famous or the most well-known draft pick so far has been the Donovan Mitchell draft pick. And that draft pick in particular, like Cassie kind of mentioned, Utah wasn't in draft position to draft Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
They actually had to trade up for him. If you heard the story, there was a story that came out that Walt Perrin was actually cool with Donovan Mitchell's agent, got in contact with him during the draft process. Donovan Mitchell wasn't really even supposed to, was not even supposed to work out for the Utah Jazz, but because of the connection, he was able to work out for the Utah Jazz. They saw what he was able to do, and he kind of laid down a law. It's like, listen, he hit up the GM and was like, listen, we need to trade up for this guy. They ended up trading with the they ended up trading with the Denver Nuggets. I think it was their 27th pick, I believe. The 27th pick and another player for Donovan Mitchell, and he trusted himself, and everybody missed out on Donovan, including the Knicks.
Right. Who did we get?
We got Frank.
What's I'm about to say?
Frank.
Okay.
No, listen.
I like Frank, but I mean,
if we're comparing players,
I'm trolling.
Right.
All right.
If we're comparing players,
But imagine if he saw somebody, if he had like a feeling about somebody else, you know what I'm saying? Just like how we have this feeling that like Frank is going to be absolutely amazing.
Right. And that's what we need in this front office, like guys who have feelings about somebody else and who's able to lay the nuts on the table. Is like, yo, listen, this is what we need. Take it or leave it. You know what I mean? Like, we have to trade up to get this man. And you have something to say?
Nah, the only thing I was gonna say was that also like the fact that he's coming from a team where, let's be real for a second, like not a lot of big name free agents want to go and play in Utah for obvious.
Right.
And the fact that he's coming from an organization where they had to draft well to maintain a level of competitiveness and have a team that's always ready to go to the playoffs. Like I would rather get somebody from there, because the Knicks are in a similar situation. Nobody wants to come to New York at the moment. So the only way you're going to build the reputation of the Knicks is if you actually go out and get people in that know how to draft well, so you can build up through the draft. And then when the Knicks reach a level where they're competitive and change the whole culture surrounding the organization, the New York is a hotspot where people want to be. And then in the future, that's going to lead to, signing big name free agents to go along with that young talent that you've accumulated during the draft.
Exactly. It should be a lot easier. If New York is able to draft well in the last few years, it would be a lot easier to get things done, because at the end of the day, this is New York, and there's still people who would come here just because it's New York.
Exactly.
Look at the executives. Like, he's leaving a winning situation in Utah to come to New York to make a name for himself, to see if he can do it on the biggest stage possible. So,
and I think that's more of it too. Like, there's still an allure about, okay, these guys weren't able to do it. Let me see if I can make it in New York, And you mentioned that Leon Rose, you were a little unsure about his moves, but I think what makes him very smart is he also has people in his corner that can advise him. You know, like he's not doing this. Like what's his name? William Wesley, I think, is one of his collaborators, a business partner.
Right.
You know,
he still might be working. We didn't hire him, but he still might be working with the Knicks in the background.
In an unofficial capacity, he's still getting. You know.
True. And also, like, I was listening to Knicks Fan TV and the interview he had with I forgot the gentleman's name, who has his own Utah Jazz podcast, and they were talking about the work ethic of Perrin and how he usually outworks people. And I've actually heard Perry say a similar thing, where even though they work out an abundance of guys for one position, even though they know they're not going to draft those guys, they work out everybody just to establish a connection, just in case, you know, a trade opens up later down the line, and they already did their homework. They already know what this guy's about. They already know if this guy's going to work in the system within the culture of the team. And if they've done something like that with Jordan Clarkson before, where they traded for Jordan Clarkson later on, even though they didn't draft him because they were out of position to draft him, and brought him in because he knew he worked with the team. So that's something else that I'm looking forward to when he gets here, or when he actually gets to work.
That's smart. It'd be nice that we have someone that actually might make us like a sleeper team, like the Utah Jazz.
That's it. That's what we need. It's
like, even if we don't, if we get to a point where we're like playoff contenders, or like we're in the playoffs, it'll be if the next step for the Knicks to me is we become like one of these sleeper teams where people are not like taking us as an automatic win.
Right.
I'd like that.
Right. Now, it's not an end all be all. I love this move. The coach is still made a big deal, but I like the direction we're moving, for sure.
Right.
And even one other thing I want to mention too, being that there is no official draft combine, I'm not sure what's going to happen. It really helps to have a team of scouts who are known for doing their due diligence, and I'm including Scott Perry in that, in the way he got Mitchell Robinson. And even another executive we're going to talk about later. Like, these guys are workers, and I'm happy to see that we got some actual workers here. So I think we'll be a little bit more prepared than other teams with these guys, because we know they're not going to do the bare minimum. They're known for being workhorses, and it was evident by the way that different people were kind of bigging them up all over Twitter. Like, everybody was like, "Yo, this is a great move." Ooh.
People that aren't even in the Knicks organization.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I'm just like, "Ooh, us? They talking about us?"
And he's good for he's known for like drafting like unknown talent and like college players, or like he has like a strong ability to like pick out like up and coming talent, and not necessarily like
the big names.
Your LaMelos.
Exactly. Because they haven't really been in the top 10.
Not your LaMelos.
LaMelos.
Your balls.
Hey, they got Darren Williams, all right? All right. I was one of the all-stars, because that's one of the all-stars that
they did draft Darren Williams. They did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The one thing I will say though is I read a nice I heard a nice little quote from Walt Perrin from that Knicks Fan TV interview that I thought would be interesting, and I want to see if this clashes with Scott Perry's philosophy. Walt Perrin said, "Workouts are a part of the puzzle, but not the entire puzzle." Right?
I agree with that.
Now, when Kevin Knox joined the Knicks, why did they say Kevin Knox joined the Knicks? Anyone remember? No. Kevin Knox, remember? Kevin Knox was going one-on-one in workouts with Miles, and they said Kevin Knox handled him in the workouts, and that is the reason why Kevin Knox is a New York Knick today.
Well,
look at him now.
Yep.
Right.
Look at that.
And Miles from Charlotte, not Miles from Phoenix.
Right.
So I'm wondering if there's gonna be like a beef between Perry and.
No, I don't think so, because I mean, if you look at it, like Kathy said, look at him now. I mean, that was just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we need somebody who can think outside the box and see the whole picture. And clearly, this guy's able to do that by picking such, pulling out gems from like low seed. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we got a second round pick. We can trust that he's gonna pick out
Right.
the best gem.
Yeah.
You know.
And I mean, like, I know this example isn't really comparative because it's a different sport, but it's for example, it's like football. Like, a guy can be off the meter in all those different drills that they have you run, like the 40-yard dash and this and that, but that doesn't automatically translate to a great football player, because you have players that
Absolutely.
don't do that great during the combine, but then when they're on the field, they perform though.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Game time
Absolutely.
performance, man.
You can't just look at a workout and be like, oh, this player's he's not gonna be that great just because he didn't have a great workout. Like, nah, that doesn't test a player's heart or whatever the case may be.
Exactly. So the thing
You
is,
copping a
Perry
plea
is
for
still.
LaMelo. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you copping a plea for LaMelo.
Oh no! Copping the plea for LaMelo. Oh, you know what? Speaking of LaMelo,
Sounds like
Let us know
that sounds like
Let us know the
LaMelo.
Jay.
no, this wasn't even on the docket really, but I want to just bring this up on the docket. Speaking of LaMelo,
Segue.
it's been reported by various sources. Well, actually, Mark Berman said that the Knicks have LaMelo as the
High on their
top
list.
point guard in the draft. The
Multiple
word he
parts.
used to describe the gap was unequivocally. I don't even want to get into a huge debate over LaMelo. We talked about this for 2 weeks already.
I mean, it ain't nothing more to debate. I mean, we still all feel the same way.
Facts.
Yes, we do.
We all feel the same way. The
Yes,
only
All right. Well, then there's that.
there's one thing I will say, Kathy. I am
Mhm.
not on the Cole Anthony train. I'm not. Even if you're 6, I'm not on it. But
All right.
I will say I would trade down for Kira Lewis.
Okay.
I would do that.
Okay. That's my 2 option.
Compromise.
Only because
Yeah. That's compromise. That's my 2 option. I'm
but
fine with that.
but Kathy be having that crazy talk. She's talking about number 1, I'm picking Cole Anthony. I'm not doing that. That's crazy talk.
1 or 2. If 1 or 2.
So you would pick Cole Anthony over LaMelo?
Yeah.
Crazy talk, Edson.
Yeah.
Crazy talk.
Hold up. Even with the number 1 pick?
Woo!
Crazy talk.
Woo!
If we get the number 1 pick, no, I wouldn't. Cole Anthony wouldn't be my first choice. It would be Kira. It wouldn't. It still wouldn't be LaMelo.
Wow,
It still wouldn't be
Kathy got your
LaMelo.
own board. You got your own.
Yeah.
Hey, hold it.
Yeah.
So, okay, if you have the number 1 pick, you're not picking LaMelo. You gonna even skip on Anthony Edwards?
I gotta do my research on him, so I might
Say
have to
that.
double
You gotta
back
do
that
research.
comment.
You gotta do.
Yeah.
Yo, Kathy,
I haven't looked into him. I haven't looked into him, so I might have to double back on that comment next week.
You gotta watch our Jake in the Paint episode. We talk about all the draft prospects, so you know the strength and weaknesses and why we picked them the way we did. You gotta watch that one. You gotta watch it.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean even if I watch it, that doesn't mean I necessarily have to agree with
No,
it. You already
no,
know me. I'm
it's not
dying on my own ledges.
No, you don't
I don't
have to
necessarily
agree.
have to agree with your pick. I may still want to go in a different direction. I don't necessarily. So I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna see.
I'm not saying
but
agree. I'm just saying
I
with
like
more
Cole Anthony. I
information-
like the way he plays. I like Kira too.
I'm just saying with more information. Sometimes new information shifts your mindset. That's all I'm saying.
So sometimes, and then sometimes you get that more information. And you still, I still feel the
All
same way.
right. All right. Stubborn Leo. Stubborn
It's
Leo.
the same,
Edson.
yeah,
Get
man.
your
It's the same thing
girl-
with
That's okay.
LaMelo.
Listen.
It's the same thing with LaMelo. Like I told you too, I was the only one who didn't want Zion. I didn't want Zion. I don't want KD. There are certain players that y'all. It doesn't matter how many times y'all tell me, oh, they
Right.
good, they this, they that. It doesn't matter, yo. No, the answer's still no.
It doesn't matter though, because
See the
I'm
ledge?
still gonna buy that LaMelo Ball jersey when the Knicks draft him though.
Yo, cop. Yo, cop.
Facts. And if he's nice, he cop one for Kathy too. All right. If you watched last week's episode, you know what I'm talking about. Rewatch that. Rewatch that.
Anthony Edwards, right?
Yeah.
Mhm,
All right.
mhm.
Anthony Edwards.
Watch out for that. All right, cool. Moving on to more front office news. Because other news has happened that we haven't really talked about.
Right.
Besides Walt Perrin being hired, we also hired Brock Aller.
Yes.
Who Brock Aller is a guy who worked with Cleveland.
Chief strategist. Yep.
Yep. Chief strategist. chief. I can't even talk. Chief strategist, and he is known as a salary cap guru. David Griffin describes Brock Lesnar as someone who is diabolical genius from a cap standpoint. Makes it sound evil, but you get the point. Which is gonna be crucial in this time when listen, the cap is going down. We have a lot of flexibility coming up, and he's a guy who can take advantage of the cap situations. He's known as a guy who can find any sort of loophole and exploit it.
We need that.
Yep.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything to add to that, or do you want me to just keep going?
The only thing I gotta add to that is the fact that he was there during the LeBron James years, and they had to do a lot of cap maneuvering during those years to sign all those players to big contracts.
Oh yeah, you knew where I was going.
Right.
Yeah, so it's beneficial to have somebody like that on the team that knows how to work the cap and and make sure that all the pieces on the team are signed to like long-term deals so you can have sustained success.
Exactly.
I see what Rose is doing, man, and it's smart. I see how Rose is working, man. He has somebody who's got a good eye, and he's got somebody who can take care of the money so that we can see the good talent and we can maintain, contracts so we have enough money. He's smart, man. Like he's literally putting together a Voltron team.
It seems like it.
In the front office.
I don't want to get too hyped though. I don't want to get too hyped, but
it's not about getting too hyped, but at least you can see he's thinking long term. Yeah. He's not looking at short term band-aids. He's like, okay, we need somebody who can spot talent, even if it's not in the first round. Okay, cool. Okay, we got somebody who's a cap space guru who can figure out the money so we can get what we need.
Right. Exactly.
Like specifically for like this is their, that's the thing is like you need people who have the different varying strengths to make this thing work. You can't rely on one person to
absolutely
change this ship around.
Exactly. Absolutely, it's got to be a team. And let me give an example, some detailed examples of his diabolicalness. Why do you use that word specifically? So when he joined the Cavs in 2014, the story that came out and said Griffin was named GM, and immediately they started pursuing and acquiring Brendan Haywood. Allen recognized that Hayward's contract has been grandfathered in from the old CBA rules and would give the Cavaliers a useful trade resource because it ballooned from a roughly $2 million contract in 2014 to a non-guaranteed contract for $10.5 million for 2015, 2016. So pretty much they got him to so they can trade him and use Brendan Haywood's contract as like a $10 million trade exception. So pretty much spent $2 million and got $10 million back.
This is what I'm
like a man good with money.
Exactly. And
that's crazy.
Just to give more context to what Ryan was saying earlier about the Cavs, just if you didn't feel bitter enough about the Phil Jackson era, the Cavs used their exceptions, possibly one of the exceptions that he got for Brendan Haywood, along with Deion Waiters and future Memphis first round pick, to turn Timothy Mozgov, J.R. Smith, and Iman Shumpert. Pretty much he helped the Cavs fleece the Knicks for one of the worst trades in Knicks history.
We still remember.
One of them.
We definitely still remember that.
Yeah. So
we definitely still remember that.
Yeah. So he's on our side now.
Right. I feel like that's like the bad boy Dennis Rodman joining the Bulls. That's what I feel like that move is like.
Exactly. And the funny part was when I was reading that article, he was harping on the fact that he was trying to trade Dan Griffin was trying to trade Timothy Mozgov and could not get rid of him. But because he added this guy on the team, he was able to find a way to flip it and get freaking Iman Shumpert, J.R. Smith. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Sorry, bringing up old wounds. My bad.
I mean,
that man is good. That man is good if because we still remember that trade. And that man is good.
It was a rough.
He got away with words.
Yeah,
and money clearly.
That was diabolical for sure.
It was. At the same time, though, it's like where J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert was at that point with the Knicks, it was like we were running the triangle offense. Both of them looked lost as hell. So it was like, you know what? It was best for them to leave New York anyway. So
No, but it's not even that they left New York.
I would
It's
have
what-
kept him on though.
I would have definitely kept him on.
I'd have kept him on.
I would have kept him on too at the time. But it's not even that they left New York. It's like it's what we got back for them.
yeah,
We didn't really get. We got a second round pick, and I don't remember the pieces we got back because they were like bench players for a
We
guy
got a
who
bag
was
of
six
beans,
man of
that's
the
what we
year a year ago.
exactly.
We got a bag of beans.
Yeah,
bro.
and
That's
if
what
you
we
read the article, that the Cavs GM was surprised. It was like he was like, "Yo, I was just trying to get Iman Shumpert, and I ended up getting J.R. Smith too."
Hey.
Hey.
Wow.
So
got
got him, got us.
right.
Thanks, Phil.
I think I want to applaud the Knicks right now for the moves that they're making, because even like it kind of starts in the office, or it starts in like the home office before you can actually get a bunch of players to come play for your team. If we have good people like managing the team, then we can make better and smarter moves in terms of the draft, in terms of like training and conditioning, like whatever other moves we're trying to make with the team, it starts with management first.
Starts from the
Absolutely.
top.
So
But we still gotta get that coach.
yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm. Now, next move. I don't have that much information on this guy. Frank Zanid, who's with OKC, was considered a top level scout, and also a guy who's considered a grinder, someone who's able to do extra work and dig in the trenches. Now we got 3 grinders now. Pause.
Yeah.
I don't know if that sounded weird. I'm pausing anyway. And Scott Perry, who are scouts. He was Billy King's assistant GM with the Brooklyn Nets in 2016, and he ended up being OKC Thunder's top scout. And if he's with OKC, I guess in some way, shape, or form, he was involved with drafting Alexander there, which is obviously a good move. So another guy on the team who looks like he'll be great for the Knicks. And a little footnote too, he was cool with Kobe Bryant back in the day, and
Right. Playing ball in Philly.
playing ball in Philly. And Kobe shouted him out back in the day from his days when he was hired to work with the New Jersey Nets. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets. They still New Jersey Nets in my head. My bad.
always and forever.
Always in forever. But yeah. Any thoughts on him? I don't know. There's not that much info out there. But
Yeah, it's not a lot of information on him, but I do think the thing that's consistent, I think, with these new hires is the work ethic. And I think that's something that you can't teach. And on top of that, then we have the specialties that they have. So I'm curious to see how these new changes will shake up the upper management and how it will trickle down. Yeah, I'm not mad at any of these, to be honest.
Same, man. Same here.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can say is that, like, there's not much information on him, but just the fact that he's with organizations that have drafted, pretty well within a recent couple of years.
Right.
Because, I mean, the Nets had a terrible situation, like, a few years ago where they had, like, huge contracts,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to, like, really turn that thing around and bring in young talent while letting go of some big contracts and things like that. And he was there during that time period. I don't know.
That's true. That 2016 period, you're right. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what role he played specifically, but he was a part of that. Then OKC's a team that's known for drafting pretty well.
Right.
He had to have played a role within that too. So just, those little positives right there, make me, feel pretty good about the hire overall.
Yeah, like the fact that we're getting guys in the front office who are coming from different winning situations, A.
Right.
And B, these guys are also coming from just small market teams who come from small market thinking. So it's not just going to be resting on our laurels of, we're from New York, we can get anybody we want. They're going to have that blue collar work mentality that we're just going to outwork these dudes and have the cachet of New York. Hopefully, that's the.
Do you think that is going to translate well in New York though? That like small market idea of getting a player versus like this is a major city, do you think that's going to translate well?
I hope so. We need the work ethic. We know Leon Rose at this point still wants to go big game hunting and wants to get a big name free agent here eventually.
Right.
There's been rumors that, the Knicks Posse might go after Donovan Mitchell because of his ties with our recent hire. So we know that's a possibility, and I feel like it's still operating like a small town team isn't a bad thing at all.
I agree.
And the way I look at it is like, the Knicks are trying to change the culture within the organization, and the way you do that is you bring in winning players. And teams that have bad culture, the only way you're going to change that is you change the structure within, and then on top of that, you have to bring in players that's going to actually compete and win. So you can actually turn into that team that's going to attract those big name free agents in the future. So I don't think Knicks have much of a choice. You have to take that route right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result.
Yeah.
And so now, with them shaking things up and having someone, with that small market mentality, I think that's a great thing for the Knicks. Because he can keep go big game hunting, but I think focusing on, all right, let's grind it out and see who else we can get. Let's assess this talent and see how they can possibly, flourish later on. I think we definitely need that type of mentality in the office.
Exactly. Well, okay, so let me transition to another topic now, because that was one of the big things that happened this week. But also, if you've been keeping up with the NBA news, the general NBA news anyway, you'll see that after this coronavirus thing started to happen, it is looking more and more like the NBA will return in mid-July. Teams will be coming to training camp in mid-June.
Right.
And the commissioner, Adam Silver, was on a conference call with the GMs at the NBA, and they were discussing different formats in which the NBA can return.
Right.
Some of those benefit the Knicks.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Very nicely.
Right.
Some of those don't. We've had our resident reader, expert. Edson got the reading glasses on. Edson, you gonna let us know? Can
The voice.
Yeah. I got the voice too.
The voice.
My man got a radio show now.
Oh yeah.
Some light.
Something light flex.
Just a little bit.
Blue check coming.
So, I mean, along with that conference call that Adam Silver had with them, he also sent out a survey late Friday night for the GMs to fill out as to whether they should play, a tournament, the preferred number of teams, and here are some of the things that they came up with. So, according to multiple sources, the NBA, led by Silver, also held a conference call with the GMs on Thursday in which several notable topics were discussed. First one, a two-step approach to the start of games. 2-week training camp in a team's market, then a 2-week quarantine training camp in the playing location. And I think you mentioned earlier, might be Disney.
Right, and just to add on to that too, the news came out today that the Knicks and the Nets were actually requesting that they would train in Orlando, but Cuomo actually announced today that training facilities would be allowed to be open in New York, so they can actually work out in New York if need be.
Right. All right, so on Wednesday, The Athletic reported that the NBA is in serious talks with Walt Disney World Resort as the playing site.
It makes sense too. They got all like the big. They have a big space. They got jacuzzis and hotels already set up. Mickey's already on deck. You feel sad. I like. It's a good idea. I like it.
Exactly. So one of the other topics that were discussed was the players are resistant to the full nasal swab coronavirus test. Now, I mean, listen, I've seen that thing. That thing looked painful. So I would be resistant to it too. But listen, but if you want to play, Anyway, so as a result, the league is working on acquiring more comfortable testing via saliva or via the tip of the nose. My only thing with that is I understand that this is entertainment or whatever, but if Joe Schmo down the block got to get a test and he has to get it done like that, then, I mean, if they can make it comfortable for one, they need to make it comfortable for everybody, not just because it's the NBA.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know,
I agree.
these guys, again, I love the NBA, but they be a bunch of babies sometimes.
You want to play or not? like, yeah, you trying to play?
Exactly. Yo,
Like,
exactly. Take this cotton swab, my
we've
guy.
been sitting for 3 months now. What you like, yo, you trying to play or not?
I'm trying to play or not.
It's good.
All right, so once in the bubble site, teams could share support services, and this would include doctors and security personnel to lessen the number of people involved. So everybody's not going to have their own personal security entourage or their own personal doctor. They would all share.
Yeah, and teams are going to be laying off assistants and coaches and stuff like that. So
listen, I mean, this corona thing is such a far, and even when it first hit really hard, I was like, it's going to hurt our money more than, and again, I mean, there's been a lot of lives lost, but also there's going to be a lot of jobs lost, Anyway, so the GMs then received the survey late Friday night in which they are able to vote on a series of scenarios the Athletic has.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
Here are the scenarios.
Which one is going to...
Which one do you choose?
I'm voting with
Okay,
Blues.
so. All right, so season formats for consideration. Advance directly to the playoffs.
Nope.
Boo!
Right. That would mean, well, I mean, because that doesn't benefit us. No, I get it, yeah.
I mean, it kind of does, but you know what? We'll talk about it later.
Well, okay.
It doesn't.
So,
It doesn't. It's,
16
okay.
teams, 16 teams, 4 rounds, best of 7 series, with postseason teams based on standings as of March 12th.
And I'll say this.
Now, do you want to expand on how that could benefit us? I would like to hear that.
Well, okay, you know what? Pros and cons. Pros
Okay.
and cons. Pros for the Knicks. I mean, I don't know if we can see this as a pro really, but
Right.
we would be stuck in 6th place. We couldn't drop any lower or go any higher. So when it comes to the draft, when it comes to the
forgot
draft,
that part.
Right.
Forgot that part.
yeah, like the numbers, who knows what's gonna happen, but we'll be stuck in that place. Actually, but as far as the NBA teams, I was talking about this with CP earlier today. So shout out to CP because we had this conversation. NBA will lose money if they don't hit a 70-game mark.
Oh.
Right. So it would be in their best benefit to play the 72 games or more, just so they wouldn't lose revenue money with other people.
Right.
And of course too.
But even in the midst of Corona, they would still lose money. I mean, I'm sure they've already lost money,
Right.
Clearly, but
But they would have to pretty much, if they don't hit the 70-game mark, the NBA would have to issue them a refund.
It's crazy how in the midst
but
of all of this, there are no
question.
like
contingency plans.
Yeah.
What's the contingency plan to that?
Contracts, especially those media contracts. Like, yo, you have we're scheduled to.
It's a global pandemic.
This is what I mean. Everything is off the
matter.
table. Everything is
Doesn't
off
matter.
the table.
That's like us still having to pay rent right now. Still having to pay rent. Still, your credit score is still going up and down. Like everything should
Yo,
literally
talk your
be
stuff,
at a
Queen.
halt. Everything should be at a halt across the board. Like whatever was agreed upon, it's dead now. Because
Null and void.
this is affecting everybody.
This is what's called an act of God. So it's like, everything is off the table now.
Yo, God act on my rent.
It doesn't matter though, because business is business. If I'm
sick and dead,
I'm paying the NBA money to showcase their games on my channel, and we agreed on a certain amount of games to be shown on my channel. You have to fulfill that in some way, shape, or form. If you don't fulfill
during a pandemic when nobody's making bread besides
is a
Bezos,
unless it's
crazy.
Unless it's stated in the contract specifically that if a global pandemic and this and that, you're not.
How could we possibly predict that a global pandemic is going to happen to be like, yo, put that in the contract?
Next contract is in
But listen, in some contracts, they specify act of God. For example, South by Southwest, they say you do not, if you buy a ticket or if you're a vendor you don't get a refund even if there is an act of God. So that's actually in that contract.
Exactly.
So I don't know if in that contract they have a stipulation like
Exactly. We don't know. And if it's not in the contract, then I can't blame those companies. That's like, no, you gotta.
Excuse my language on a Sunday. Fuck the contract, yo. It's a global pandemic. Like, yo, people are dying. Like, people are literally dying, yo.
Right, like
no
literally.
contract. Like, players can't even play and make their bread right now. Like, who cares, man? We got like, that's so inhumane. I think that's so inhumane. That's so crazy that you can't even look at like this. Like, there's literally no scenario on this good earth that's gonna be like, yo, we can't even make a human adjustment.
Business.
Like people are dying.
And
I hope you.
Business.
That's
like, yo, if
we gotta readjust business. But I think I mean that goes into a deeper conversation.
Or cut it short, and we're not able to showcase the amount of games that we agreed upon, then yeah, you owe me some money. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is.
Man,
from where, yo? Because
like you said, that's a whole other conversation, because I mean, when you think about this, what really matters in life right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
What really matters. But again, I see both sides of the argument. I'm leaning more towards the humane side, of course, because but I understand, there's contracts to be upheld, but
how? Like how? How are we upholding contracts right now? That's the problem. That's literally the problem.
I agree. But there's some people who are not. Like, for example, I don't remember the business, but there was an executive who took a pay cut. He's making 6 figures. He's now making 5 figures. He took a pay cut so that his employees could still remain employed. So again, there are some people who understand that business is not all cold and calculated. Like, there is a humane component.
And I think when times like this happens, this is when you have to learn to readjust. Like, yes, business can still be business, but let's readjust business.
Yeah, we got more to go through too. We got more to go through.
Oh no, yes, it's just, but I do think it was good to take this moment,
because I'm like, the NBA got money, I got money too, so it's like, nah. If we're in a contract and you breach that contract, I'm gonna be like, nah. My services were not fulfilled. You're gonna pay me your money. You're gonna pay me that money. You have
man.
I ain't doing business with you.
Ryan wants his money.
Cold-blooded.
Kathy's like, yo, give me hugs.
Yo, come here, yo. Bring it in.
Bring it in.
Bring it in.
And Jay Alex is probably like, yo, give me half and then give me hugs too.
Right.
Y'all decide that's half a hug. Give me my bread.
Yeah.
Give Ryan on opposite ends
Word.
of this.
Yeah, give me installments or something. All right, cool.
Ryan, like, you better find it.
Right.
I don't know what you got.
I don't know what you got to do, but
I know what I gotta do.
Like I said,
Run me my money.
The NBA is a $1 billion business.
Not this year.
I don't feel sorry.
Not this year. They don't got not this year.
Ryan said
Everybody
none
don't
of that.
got it. Let me tell you, the only person who got $1 billion this year, Jeff Bezos. That's it.
Money. I'm sorry. You're
Listen,
$1 billion.
Ryan said.
How? Nobody
Ryan
did
said,
anything for the last
none of that
3
money's
months.
in my pocket.
Nobody
I don't
did
feel sorry.
anything. Like, if people were actually playing, then it'd be like, all right, break me off my bread. But if you literally, if people have literally been told you cannot play, you cannot go to work,
there is no NBA brand right now. Like, there is no NBA brand right now. The NBA brand right now is Michael Jordan. Right now. That's the NBA brand.
They're crying for content right now. How can I uphold my end of the bargain? Like, I'm literally going to have to steal. I gotta literally steal.
Because you can't strip because they're closed. The strip clubs is closed.
Only fans don't work this way.
$1 billion business. Pay me my money.
How? Where am I supposed to get it from?
All right.
You want me to rob? Am I supposed to rob? Because even the banks ain't open. I gotta make it to go to the bank.
We'll just have to agree to disagree.
We're gonna see the same. No one's changing their mind.
We will agree to disagree. We will agree to disagree. So the second consideration is a playoffs plus option.
Okay.
That's expanding the number of teams with the opportunity to play, either through holding a play-in tournament to determine the final seeds in playoffs to be played by bubble teams, or replacing the first round of the playoffs with a group stage.
Now, this is when it gets interesting, the play-in playoffs, because the play-in playoffs is when the Knicks can actually play in, depending on where their cap is. Because the scenarios where
they're trying to figure out how many teams are right. So if this is playoffs plus, how many teams should return to play? 18, 20, 22, or 24?
Now, if we go to the 24 teams, there's a possibility
we could be in there.
Playoffs, and we can go to war with
I hope they're working out, man. And again, and I know everyone's working out, but I hope they're working out. Like, if this is like, if I see this, I'm like, damn, it's a possibility we could get in.
Well, I've seen RJ dunking on doing dunks and catching alley oops in the gym. I saw Kevin Knox
I don't care about
doing
dunks.
lunges. Hey, man, listen. No one's running scrimmages right now.
I understand. Listen, I understand. Listen, just especially watching The Last Dance and then listening to Kobe, in his conversation. You know what separates the all-stars from just like the average? It's like that work ethic. You gotta hit that gym. You gotta get strong. You gotta hit that gym. You gotta get strong. Everybody in the league for the most part has game because they made it.
Mm-hmm.
What separates is the strength.
I guarantee you,
hit that gym.
When it comes to work ethic,
that conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That's why LeBron is LeBron.
When it comes to work ethic, some people will come in shape and some people won't. Yeah.
LeBron is gonna come back brolic because he's always brolic. I mean, he the way that he maintains his health over all these years, I need us to be doing that right now.
Yeah.
Because, anyway, so
I like this. I like this option to play in though.
Right. I think that might be cool.
Yeah.
The con.
We'll see.
The playoffs. We get to see Julius Randle spin moves and carry us to victory, right?
And the con is, give us the con.
The con is
he's spinning.
The con is always the draft. The con is always the draft.
So I think we need to always keep that in the back of our minds.
Is that costing us the LaMelo Ball?
Unless the Knicks drop out first round, then okay.
But then for that, if that's the case,
which is probably gonna happen, so we might as well.
Yeah, just drop.
Which is probably going. Yeah, like if there was ever a time, like I know y'all want LaMelo, but if there was ever a time to like make it into the playoffs and get people hope, wouldn't now be it?
No.
Wouldn't now be the time to be like, wouldn't now be the time to be like, you know what? We have an opportunity to actually make it to the playoffs. Like, we have an opportunity to do a thing. Like, let's capitalize off of that. Like, this is the most craziest thing just happened in the world. Basketball stopped for 3 months. Now we're back. We're playing. Like, we can actually make it into the playoffs because of these new set of rules. Like, let's go for it.
It would be fun.
But now let me ask you.
It would be fun.
Because right now, if they do this, in essence, it's like they're like kind of starting from scratch. Are they going to alter the draft rules? Because like now you're talking about like almost like tournament style NCAA kind of, with some of these options, right? So based off of you playing into the playoffs, is that it changes your standing in the draft?
I don't know.
You suck most of the year. Like, I mean, this is like,
it's a great
you know
question.
what I'm saying? So
now you want to be good?
And I think teams, I feel like teams are actually contacting me and talking about like how it's going to affect people who are trying to draft.
That's what I think. I think the draft is a great thing for us to, to think about because on any given day, a team can beat a team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that doesn't change how you perform throughout the year.
I don't think it's going to be one game. I can't see the one game college
even if it's 2 games, even let's say a team that was not even considered in it wins or somehow gets in there, that changes the draft position. I don't know.
Yeah.
You got lucky. You got lucky in the playoffs.
You got lucky.
Lucky.
All right, let's look at the other option. So the other option is to resume regular season with all 30 teams. That just means all teams play the same number of games.
Ryan G.
The next one, resume regular season play with all 30 teams, plus have the play-in.
We got time for that?
So, I don't know. So all the teams play the same number of games, followed by play-in tournament for the final seeds and traditional playoffs.
So I guess I feel like they're really just pretty much trying to get some money back by having.
And they're trying to get some reps into being conditioned.
There you go.
For the playoffs.
There you go. Get some reps in.
All right. The next one is the playoffs plus play-in format. I feel like I'm reading the directions from a video game right now. We're playing tournament featuring bubble teams for 8th seed. The play-in tournament for 7th and 8th seed, or group stage that replaces first round of playoffs, and all participating in groups. Each team plays 2 games against each group opponent, and top 2 teams from each group advance to the traditional second round. That just sounds like a lot. That just sounds like a lot. I don't know how I feel about this option.
We can skip it.
Yeah. I think that one. I think that option was just like, what's the craziest thing they could possibly do?
Yeah, next. It's too complicated, man. It's too complicated.
That one's
I'm like, we got time for that?
I don't think we do.
Exactly. Like that's
Like
the
3
other
months
question.
right now. Not even.
There's only one
All
option
right.
for me, yo. One
Oh,
option.
the play that let all 30 of them play.
Hell yes.
How many games?
But are you gonna do all 30 and then have the play in?
Nah, no playing, just regular playoffs. Like, because I
Okay.
believe, like, here's my thinking, because I look at different leagues and what they're doing, and like, for example, overseas, like in the soccer leagues, like say for example the French league,
Mhm.
like they're in the middle of their soccer season, and they pretty much canceled the season, and they said that wherever the standings are right now, that's how it's going to be. So it's like whoever's leading the league right now, they're automatically the champion. And then they have promotion and relegation. So it's like the teams in the last 3 spots or whatever, they're automatically relegated. And I don't even think that's fair, because I'm like, those teams that you relegate, there's still games to play in the season. Like how do you know that those teams who's in those last 3 places are not going to move up? Those games are not played. And it's the same way I feel with the NBA. It's like, okay, you have your top 8 seed. I mean, you got your top 8 seeds right now, but you have teams on the outside that they're not that
They
far
could possibly
off.
slip into that 8 seed.
Exactly. And I'm
I
like,
got you.
and I'm like, if you're gonna just cut off the season right there and just be like the top 8 seeds or whatever going to the playoffs, I don't think that's fair to those teams that's like on the outside looking in. And I also feel like the teams that their season's pretty much over already, I feel like
Send us home.
Right.
not even that though, but I mean, like, at least you never know. Like, say for example, they come back and a team that's on like the bottom or whatever, they're able to build some momentum going into next season with the way they've been playing those last couple of games. Like, say for example, they end up winning like the majority of their games, you can actually carry that into the next season. You know what I'm saying? Have them help build up a bit more confidence. So I mean, I feel like.
And you talking about all the other teams outside the Knicks?
No, but I mean, you can have Frank Ntilikina. He can start balling and like, ooh.
Exactly. I mean, that could work in.
But why y'all can't? Because y'all want
Razdinkis.
the draft pick. Y'all want the draft pick. So what's the point?
Yeah,
What
but
do you mean? What's the point? I don't even want to get rid of everybody because we want the draft pick.
But the thing is,
We can want the draft pick and Frank.
but I mean, like, even with the way the draft is right now, like, even if you're in like the top 3 spots, with the balls, with the ping pong balls or whatnot, it's like you're not even guaranteed the top 3 pick anyway. So it's like, who the hell cares? As long as the Knicks in the damn.
That's what we need to change more than anything.
Yeah, so I'm like, as long as the Knicks in the damn lottery. So it's like, if that's the case, why not play out some games and see if the Knicks can carry some momentum into the next season?
Okay, it sounds like you kind of agreeing with Kathy a little bit.
Yeah.
He wanted the playoffs.
Sounds like. That's what it
He
sounds
wants
like. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Play these
Come on
games.
over,
wrong.
He wants the playoffs. Play these games. Sit the
could be
vets.
wrong.
Sit the vets. I want Razdinkis. I want Lamar Peters. I want Iggy. I want all the bench to get all the minutes. And Julius to sit.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
And then
All right.
I
So
mean, I like Kathy though. We don't disagree all the time, and so I'm like.
That's the narrative we're trying to push for ratings.
no, we agree most times. We don't disagree all the time. We disagree most times.
There you go. Keep pushing it, Kathy. Keep pushing it.
all right. So the next thing that's in consideration is having scrimmage games prior to any restart.
Okay.
So they're trying to decide if they want 2, 3, 4, or 5 scrimmage games before any of these other options are even considered. They're also looking at, because you spoke about having less than 70 games will cost the NBA. So they're trying to possibly have total regular season games be 72 or 76 games.
Right. I'm for that. I'm for having as many games as possible before the playoffs.
Right, absolutely.
Yes.
Then they're looking at the playoff format, the traditional East versus West, or just reseed all the teams.
Interesting.
Okay.
I mean, they're gonna put that
That's-
top 16
yeah.
thing, and then it's gonna be like 15 teams from the West.
So that means if they do that,
So
that means
all of the
two-
West.
right, right. You're gonna
All
have
of the
two West
West.
Coast teams playing for the finals.
Boo.
Nah, I'm not with that. I'm not with that. The West is stacked. Nah, I'm not with that at all, man.
All of the West is going.
Word.
East, it's been fun.
Yo, the entire playoffs is gonna be West Coast. Nah, stop. I'm not with that.
It's gonna be the West Coast playing on the East.
Might see Melo in the playoffs
Yeah.
Word.
on Portland.
That would be a nice,
Consolation prize.
because Melo's still my
All
guy.
right.
Anyway.
I tug at your heartstrings. I did it on purpose. All right, go ahead.
No, listen, Melo's still my guy. All right, so then the other thing now is roster considerations.
Now this is interesting.
Right. Number one, the possibility of limited roster expansion. So that means a choice of 1 to 3 additional spots will allow teams to have more players on its inactive list. Second option, the possibility of expanding playoff rosters for all playoff teams. So that means they would have 1 or 2 additional participants for the playoffs.
That means if the Knicks make it, we can add Lamar Peters versus Brzingis or whoever we want to bring up
Right.
for the playoffs.
The third option is the possibility of allowing two-way players to be eligible for the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah, 2-way contracts. Let's go.
Not really mad at that.
Might as well.
Right. At this point, let everybody play.
Yeah, exactly. Get some extra bodies involved just in case something crazy happens. Yeah, I'm with it.
Exactly. Right. Because now that's the other thing. Even though they've been working out, with this layoff, possibility injury is a possibility.
Honestly, injury is a possibility, and who knows? Hopefully, with the precautions taken, no one catches anything. I don't think.
And that-
they
No one
Right,
catches it. No one has it. No one's asymptomatic. Like,
right.
Exactly.
But if they do the testing beforehand, before they get on the plane and get to the bubble placed in the happiest place on earth in Florida, MSG, whatever, I think it should be okay in theory.
I feel like, but they'd have to test again.
Yeah,
No?
right. Yeah, you
Here's the
test
thing.
before, you
They
test
have
after.
to-
Yeah,
They have to test every day, bro.
Yeah.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing. With a virus, you can't see that shit. You can't see
You don't
it.
stop testing. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't even cleanse a place of a common cold. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So it's like when you have something like this that could potentially kill someone, it's like you gotta test like when they get there, after they leave, before they get to the next day. Like that has to be part of
Yeah,
the protocol.
for sure.
So again, it's a lot that's gonna go into them, even if it's just in this isolated place. Like they can like completely sterilize Disney World.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But they still have, that just seems that's so in depth and so detailed. Like, but all right. So then the latest possible date for finish, they're looking at Labor Day, September 15th, October 1st, October 15th, or November 1st.
Okay.
As evidenced by the GM survey and conversations to close the week, the NBA still must reach a point of feeling comfortable on a return to play. As Silver told players on the call this month, the NBA will be choosing from a lot of bad options and none that are risk-free. So, and we just, it's so funny, we just spoke about that. There's a risk them going back and playing.
Yeah.
There's a risk, but again, as Ryan was saying, even in this pandemic, business is business, and that's what they're thinking about. Again, it's kind of messed up because at the end of the day, on the other side of the business are people. Granted, very well-paid people, but they're still people, they're still human beings, and they're taking a risk on it. I understand they want to play, like this is their love and their dream and their livelihood, but I think they'll be good if they sat out till next season. They'll be good. That check is not gonna bounce.
Players want to play, man. This ain't paid. This is their passion too. Shoot, I'm
I-
not in the NBA, and I want to play. I'm tired of sitting in this damn
Nah,
house.
listen,
Yo. Give
I
me a
understand.
ball.
Listen, bro. I'm very upset that I can't like. I went for a run the other day, right? And I'm like, okay, I know nobody's gonna be at the court, but there's no rim, so what am I going there for? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, Anyway, the NBA plans to hold a board of governors call on Friday, May 29th.
Okay.
So, and I guess so. Then that'll give us something, I guess, else to talk about for next week.
Definitely. We'll see how that goes. Tune in next show. We're gonna talk about that, and I definitely want to talk about power forwards next week too, man. I want to talk about alternate scenarios of power forwards. Something came out about Danilo Gallinari. He did like an interview and somebody asked him, "Huh? Yeah, Gallinari." Yeah, I want him to come back just so I can hear that in the MSG in the Garden. But someone asked him if he was willing to come back with the Knicks, even though he was considered he was kind of comfortable with OKC, and he gave the nice PC answer. You know, all options are on the table. But I want to talk about some stretch forward options that would be available if Randall isn't here, or just to give RJ room. Next week we'll do it for sure. All right. If nothing else crazy happens.
Right.
Okay, now it is time for one of the favorites part of the show. O picks, for those who don't know, are the highlight plays of the week in basketball. But since there is no basketball, I am just I'm going to talk about some stuff that happened already. That's the story. I saw on Knicks Twitter that they were kind of bigging up Amari Stoudemire, so I figured since they were bigging up my guy Amari, fellow Scorpio.
Yeah, fellow Scorpio brethren. Let's go.
Shares a birthday with my sister. Shout out to Amari.
Oh, that's dope.
Small world. Yeah, what a small world.
Not only one of my sisters a beast too. Anyway, so
Indeed.
So this ooh pick, it didn't count, but it counted in my heart.
All that matters is how it looked.
Yeah, all that really matters. Knicks versus Heat. Knicks screaming for the ball. Amari gets the ball on the right wing. Shane Battier slides over to try to stop him from getting to the rim. Amari says, hell nah. Hits him with a light elbow. Real light.
Just a tap.
Slight love tap. Barely hit him. Shane Battier falls to the floor. Amari jumps up, dunks it. Boom. In his face for the ooh pick. But the ooh is really, really for Amari extending his hand to offer to get Shane Battier off the floor. And as Shane Battier reaches back out to him, Amari pulls it away.
Hey!
Psych.
Spicy like.
That's the ooh. That's the
ooh. Got him.
That's my ooh pick. Now, I know there's a lot of Amari dunks that, counted that I could use, but this one was more fun.
Yeah, dude has definitely baptized a lot of people in his career.
Exactly. Definitely. It's not just wine he baptized.
Word.
All right. Anybody else with the ooh picks? Anybody?
Yeah. It's shout outs though.
Okay.
Once again, shout out to Stat because at a time when nobody else really wanted to come to the Knicks, he decided to come and help change the culture around.
All right.
We appreciate you, King.
Yes, we got big up Stat for that.
Do we mention that Phoenix turned him down for large amounts of money and we were willing to pay him?
Yeah, that too, but still, he still can't.
Man. I still love him though.
Let your man rock with the compliment.
My next ooh goes to one of my favorite players of all time, Tracy McGrady, T-Mac. I would have wore the T-Mac jersey, but it's the Knicks podcast, so I didn't do it.
You could have still worn the T-Mac jersey. There is a Knicks T-Mac jersey.
Exactly.
Actually, there's a few other topics that we'll talk about that later. Go ahead.
But I don't have the Knicks T-Mac jersey. I got the Magic T-Mac jersey. That's why I'm like,
I got you. I got you.
But shout out to T-Mac because today's his birthday.
Okay.
Hey.
Happy birthday, T-Mac.
All right, you sneak in other
blessings.
non-Nick players in these ooh, and I'm gonna let this slide because it's quarantine.
He played for
That's
the
the first time that's ever happened.
But he played for the Knicks. Short stint.
All right, that's right. That's the tie-in. I forgot. Okay.
And also big up Beanie Man and Bounty Killer.
Hey, wait.
Saturday.
Gunshots in the air.
I gotta hit the gunshots.
Gunshots,
All right, go ahead.
Yes, big them up too. Magnificent performance Saturday night. We all enjoyed it.
Crazy.
Yes.
I missed the clash because I was in a Zoom meeting, but that's another story.
Oh,
I hope it was worth
being
it.
enlightened.
you were being enlightened.
I hope it was worth it.
I learned some things actually. I did.
You see it? There you go. And it was worth it then.
And I'll catch it on YouTube. That's all who picks?
Yeah, that's
I
all
think so. I know I don't have any. I have a bruh. So,
Okay.
you know, I'm holding
All right, cool. Well, since you have a bruh, it is now time for the other part of the
Turn
show.
it off.
the bruh picks.
The bruh picks. Bruh picks are usually the worst plays of the week, but there is no more basketball. So what we usually do right now, we just name the atrocities of the world that is happening and poke fun of that or give really passionate speeches about the bull.
Well, since you spoke about, you know, highlighting Amari, you know, I have to give him a bruh just because I can't let him live this down. 2012 playoffs with the Miami Heat. They lose to the Miami Heat, and at this point, he was like the pivotal piece, or one of them, the major pivotal piece, and he got frustrated and decided to put his hand through the glass of a fire extinguisher. And they said he may not play in the third game. We knew he wasn't playing because he didn't cut up his hand and had to get stitches in it.
Yeah.
So go ahead and hit that bruh for Mars.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit it. I'm hitting it, bruh. Scorpio passion sometimes is, you know, misguided. It's a little bit, tad bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Any more bruh picks? Cause
wait, should I go last?
I mean,
You should.
I mean, I know there's.
I think you and I have the same bruh. So
Yeah, pretty much.
Are we mentioning the God interview? Is that happening?
Yeah, if I know who you. Yeah.
Yes. Charlemagne the God.
it's short form, right?
Yeah. So wait, Kathy, gonna let me have that one?
Yeah, you the bruh man.
All right. So first, bro, pick goes to Joe Biden for the comments he made on what was it, like the interview with Charlemagne, and you know, and basically he said that you're not black if you have to decide. How'd it go again?
Kathy, take over.
Yeah. But all I know is that he's.
If you have to decide whether to vote for me or to vote for Trump,
Exactly.
that means you're not black. Yeah,
What?
He said, yeah. He said if you had to decide between voting for me or voting for Trump, then you ain't black.
Yo, I'm hitting the bro right now. What made that so cringeworthy was the confidence in which he said it. He said it, and then it's like, you know when you realize you said something stupid, and you do like an face, like he looked in the camera and smiled, like oh, I made it funny.
So
I was like,
his joke or the comment was, "You're not black if you have to decide whether to vote for me or Trump." So he's saying that no black people should be voting for Trump. Was that what he was trying to say?
That's exactly what he's trying to say. He was saying you are not black if you vote for Trump, is what he said. Now, here's the thing. Black people community.
Black people, my black people.
I feel like
my black people.
My
people in general. Like
we've had internal discussions in the black community about how we feel about Trump and how we feel about certain people who are melanin who vote for him, and we kind of say that to each other sometimes in conversation. And I felt like Joe Biden was privy to some of those conversations and got a little bit too comfortable.
Privilege.
You know, but here's the thing.
Privilege.
Here's the
Is
thing.
privilege the word?
But here's the thing.
For
with that.
Joe Biden, yes.
Yes.
Privilege is the word.
Yes, it is.
He's got a lot of,
And yeah, because knowing
He's got a
that
lot
and
of
saying
things.
what you said,
He's probably got a lot of black friends, or enough for him to feel comfortable.
You
right?
got too comfortable.
But
I mean,
the thing,
isn't his advisor black?
You got too comfortable.
I'm trying to tell you, he just
I
got
think his
comfortable.
advisor's black.
You know, because the thing is this. Regardless of whatever you believe, there are black people who vote for Trump, first off.
Exactly.
And if you are trying to get them on your side, right? If you're trying to get them to vote for you, alienating them by saying, oh, you're not black if you're voting for Trump, it's not going to work. That's just dumb. That's dumb politics. That's dumb.
And we all
dumb
knew
in
Biden was gonna
general.
Biden
Like,
in
just
some
in
ways.
general.
Dumb, period. This is dumb. It's just dumb.
Yeah, my whole thing is that, like, yeah, it was a dumb thing to say because no white man should tell a black man he ain't black, period, or any.
Right, that's number one.
That's number one. But here's my thing though, because I'm like, I know he messed up when he said that, but that still should not deter people from not voting for him though, because if you have to choose between him and Trump, he's the clear answer.
But that's why he said it too. That's why I say privilege.
Yeah,
It's a
You know
tough
what I'm
spot
saying?
to
Because
be
you
in
know
because
that.
it's like the best of the two evils, man, to be honest.
yeah.
And
But knowing that's why you can
Yeah.
walk around and say what you said.
that's why
you know what I'm
that's why
saying?
he's holding his nuts right now because he
Right.
sees his choices
Mhm.
and that's. I don't even want to get into a deeper conversation about
Yeah,
holding
no,
your votes.
Ain't no
I don't even
deeper.
want to get
I mean,
into
to
that.
me, it's a
But
stupid.
that's
That's a
why that
stupid
campaign
comment.
is. That's why people are even talking like that because they do take the black vote for granted.
Lightly,
Mhm.
but at the same time too, what they
And
fail to realize is if black people decide not to vote, or if a majority of people in general decide not to vote, that's how we got Trump in the first place.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
There was a lot of people who decided they weren't voting.
there's the other thing,
They didn't
too.
like the two options.
either
And if
didn't vote-
we're back at that point again,
Right. But that's the thing. They either didn't vote or they voted for somebody who did not have a chance. And
Yep.
which is splitting the vote and which is like casting a vote for Trump.
which is putting us back in the same predicament again.
Exactly.
So Joe Biden, say what you want to say, kid, but that wasn't it.
That wasn't it.
That wasn't it.
Your cabinet or whoever you got under you, they need to pull you aside forever.
Yeah. And that's my whole point. I'm like, I know he messed up, but I'm like, yo, do not let it deter you from voting, please. Like, still just go out and vote regardless. Like, it is what it is. We can't really choose between the both of them. So it's like, just go with the left. That's it.
When we launch our side pod, we're gonna have a different conversation.
Oh,
like a whole more
absolutely.
in-depth conversation about this time. Woo, that boy. Woo,
Basketball. This is a basketball podcast. Don't
Facts,
speak
big
no
facts.
too deep. You just gotta,
I'm gonna get my kente cloth for that conversation.
Listen, I got plenty if you need to borrow one, bro.
All right, my brother. All right. Oh man.
All right, you got another one there, bro?
I think that's my only bro. I'm
Okay.
gonna probably ease off the other one. I'm gonna ease off.
Who's the other one?
I can't really think of it right now. It slipped my mind. It was there for a short while, but then it slipped my mind. As I said, things was much easier when there was basketball going on, man.
in life, there things were just easier.
Absolutely.
My life was
Absolutely.
easier when basketball was back, man.
Everything made sense.
Everything made sense, damn it.
Listen, I tell people all the time, life is basketball. You can find any situation, I'll find
What?
to relate basketball to.
Man, I'm getting a Ballers Life tattoo. That's happening.
That's gonna be like one of the last things to open up.
Right. No,
Yeah.
well, depends
Yeah.
what neighborhood you in, man.
Big facts. That's all
Or
right.
state.
I'm gonna go
Right.
to my boy. He gonna tap me up.
No.
Don't get one of them jail tattoos, bro. Don't do that.
No, he's an actual tattoo artist, bro.
Oh, okay. All
I don't
right,
gotta go
all
to the
right.
Bing and nothing. Blah, blah, blah.
You get that branded ball is life.
Exactly. Official tissue. All right.
Okay. All right.
We were nervous for you.
Oh man, I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get my boy to draw something on me.
Listen, I went to
Yo,
art
make
school.
sure you
I know
spell it
artists,
right,
all
man.
I went to art school. Yeah.
That's true. You can draw.
That is our show, guys. We only had 2 talks, and somehow it's still in the
Right.
hour. I thought, oh, this is gonna be 30 minutes.
We dragged
Not really.
Yeah.
Right.
Not really. And
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hold that content, guys. That is our show. So see you next week. We got more content in the clip. I got mad ideas we haven't talked about yet, but we'll get to that later. We are out of here.
Yep.
Oh, the IGs.
Oh, wait. I'm ready to get out. All right, my bad. You're right. Rewind.
Because your IG mad spicy right now, Ryan. That's why you trying to promote it.
right.
Ryan, like, nah, come follow me, yo.
Shout out to the
I got the
haters.
juice.
All right, look, IG time. You can find me at J Ellis Draws Things. That's JELLIS Draws Things. And what do? I do draw things, but I haven't been drawn in a minute. But there's other things that you can see. There's motion design. There's inspirational quotes. I told you guys that I don't post a lot, and I went on a little posting streak for like a week and a half, and now I'm back to my normal posting schedule.
That's it. You made the quota.
I made the quota. I made the quota for you.
Exactly.
Okay, Edson, where can they find you?
You can find me on all platforms at Edson Sean. That's EDSONSEAN. I am, and I haven't told anybody this yet, but I'm gonna be dropping an EP on the 12th of June.
Oh,
yeah.
Blue check coming.
So that's I'm excited about that. Yeah, and I also have a Patreon, so come support. You know,
right.
still an artist affected by the pandemic, so drop some change.
All right, that's what's up. K Steele, where can they find you?
Kathy _ Kathy Steele, KTHYSTEELE. I'm there. I'm on the socials.
She's there on the socials. If you have
I'm on
smoke
the
for
socials.
Kathy, you know where to find her. Kathy,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know who you are. _Steele.
Yeah.
Come get it.
Come see me.
Get spicy. See if we don't drop in the chat too. See.
Yeah, I got some content dropping on it this week.
And she got content dropping.
Nice.
I got content dropping this week.
That's what's up.
This week and later this month. So June's gonna be a good month.
All right, cool. Where can I find you, sir?
You can find me at Sir G is chilling.
Sir G is chilling.
That is SIR. G is CHILLIN. And yeah, my IG's been dried in toast bread, but recently I posted a clip of last week's podcast, and I don't know, there might be a back and forth going on. The other person ain't respond yet.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Wait for it.
YouTube's getting spicy too. There's a little spice on YouTube.
Yeah. We appreciate the YouTube comments. We're coming to comment back. So
yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, share. We'll be following up with the comments. So
Word.
Yeah.
Shout out to the guy who called us the Fugees last week. That was hilarious. Now I can't unsee it.
that was dope.
Oh man.
It still works with the four of us too.
Absolutely.
All right, man.
I'm gonna bring my guitar next time.
Hey. I'm a rap.
Pick up your
Not
microphone.
really.
Obviously, you have to rap because obviously you're the Lauren. Obviously.
I'm showing up late.
I'm just gonna ad lib.
All right.
I'm coming late. God bless. You'll see me when you see me.
All right.
When I get here, I get here.
All right. It could all be so simple. Whatever. That is our show. We are out of here.
Peace.
New York, big city of dreams.
I'm coming straight out.
New York, big city of dreams.
In